Hey everybody, this is Robert Lindsay. I'm back again at JTech, the diesel program. We're about to go through a little bit of cabin hood PMI. I apologize, it's very bright outside, and it's just going to get a little glary here in a second, but I apologize. Now, we're going to do this on this here International. She's a decent enough vehicle, but every once in a while you just gotta check some things. PMIs are useful in the fact that they allow you to catch problems before they become bigger. And that saves money. So, I just stood here for a little shade, but we're going to do just a basic body inspection. We're going to look at the cab, everything around the vehicle, look for damage to the paint, damage to the body, anything that could be dangerous, unsightly, and could cause problems later on. So, let's do it. She looks decent enough, doesn't she? No real issues with the body. Next, we're going to hop up in the cab to check some gauges. Remember, when you're climbing up in a cab, always have 3 points of contact. You never want to fall down. Even that little drop seems so little, it could hurt you pretty bad. So, on our little checklist, you'll get one of these when you're doing a PMI of any kind. Body and paint's on here, but that is good. It's fairly decent. Next, you're going to check to see if the ignition works. Oh, God. Imagine that. Got to see if it turns on. Boom, there's our key. Look at that. The batteries come on. Just by looking at these, I can see a couple things right now. I can see the fuel level, the air pressure for the brakes, and the battery voltage, and that's essentially it. We know those gauges work, and we know those lights that came on work. So we know the DPF filter light works, the ABS light works, the parking brake light works. And essentially all those essential little warning lights that will tell you something's wrong, they work. As they come on just to cycle through as the sensors are checking to make sure they're okay. Now, normally on this vehicle, we would test when the low air buzzer comes on. It's just a warning that when your brakes are low on air, or at least the air tank is low, that it is low, and you might need to start up the vehicle to allow the air compressor to shoot air back in there. Now, a couple ways to do that. You could hit the brakes enough times while the vehicle is not started to let the air come out, or you can bleed it out of the air tank. I'll show you where. That little plug at the bottom will allow you to bleed out the air. That's nice and dandy. Easy way to do it. You might need another person. Not really, but sometimes having somebody help you on a PMI can be pretty useful. Now, I've already done this vehicle, so I know that this particular warning light will come on, and the buzzer will come on at 60 psi. That's really low. That's warning light low. Look at that. When the vehicle's on, the air compressor will cut in at around 70 psi. So before you hit 60, 60 is too low. 70 is, oh crap. My apologies there. I had a little tumble. 70 is the perfect time to go ahead and cut on. Before it's way too low and you might be in danger of your brakes locking up on you. Back to our checklist. So now we know the ignition switch to relay works. Everything comes on. Where's power? Well, that works. Primary air gauge. Well, those are definitely not on 0 right now, so they're working. Now the low coolant indicator, that's a little funny on this truck. There is no low coolant sensor on this particular truck. This is a school vehicle, not everything is on it, not everything works, but normally that is something you would check. Now, your low oil indicator. I want you to record your low oil at 1500 RPMs. So you gotta let this thing go for a minute. Not particularly fast. But you do gotta put a little bit of power into it. Tiny little bit. Let's see what it says. I can't do that with this vehicle right now. But I can tell you it is good. Make sense, everybody? I hope so. Diesel particulate filter. Now, I just said something about that, didn't I? I did. That's because the light works. Only other time the light would come on is if it's regenning. And right now I can't show you that because I can't let the vehicle run for that long. The oil instrument gauge. To see that, I'd have to start this vehicle. Your oil instrument gauge records a value. It's the PSI, it's the pressure inside. Normally you want the oil level, but we don't have an oil level on this vehicle, so the only oil instrument gauge we have is the oil pressure, which is still a fair indication on whether or not it's low or not. So at this point, it's not working, right? That's only because this vehicle's not started. If this vehicle was started, it does work, as I've done this vehicle already. And it was recorded at a resting 45 PSI. At 1500 RPMs, it's 85. The next thing on the list is to check the PTO operation. This vehicle doesn't have a PTO. So that's not even applicable for us right now. Speed controls, something else we can't really check. That's just cruise control and see if the cruise control works. Some other simple things, but we're not allowed to do that with this particular school vehicle. Check HVAC operation, AC. Unfortunately, the AC in this vehicle does not work. We'll take a brief look. It's on normal AC, the fan is set to be on, and it's on cool temperature. There's power coming in this vehicle, and yet it's not on. It doesn't work. The fan doesn't move. So that actually needs to be repaired. Next, we would check the operation of all accessories. Well, what's an accessory? We'll look at your windows, electric windows. We don't have electric windows. Well, this vehicle's pretty bare bones. This is just a day cab. So we can go ahead and look at that right there. That's your radio. That's on, right? That works. So pretty much that's your accessories. Inspect the steps, grab handles, and make sure they're secured, right? That's just the steps and grab handles on the driver's side. That's the most important, but we've already looked on both sides. They're both there. I've already used both sides too. And they work. They aren't loose. They're not going to fall off. There's no danger of it breaking right now. We're good to go. We can get in this thing. Remember, 3 points of contact. That's the rule. And that's a universal rule, even for the drivers. Interior lights. Well, look at that. We got one working. Two. Look at that. All of them work. The door's open, so the middle one won't turn off. So I shut the door and turn off all the power. Cab exterior lights. So that's not a complicated issue. We would just turn the lights on. There's a little switch down here. I run around outside the vehicle, see if the lights are on. As I said, I check this vehicle. This vehicle does work. That works anyway. So we won't go to the length of doing that right this second. Next, you'd use an electronic service tool to read your faults. That is also unavailable at this time. But in my previous video, I showed you how to read faults. So you would get the concept of just plugging in your scan tool, reading the fault codes, or you could use flash codes, but there's no codes on this vehicle. Check horn operation. Horn works, look at that. Backup alarm. I cannot reverse this vehicle at this time, but I know the backup alarm doesn't work, which we tried before. Check for fuse box, missing or burned. That's your fuel box. Your fuse box, not your fuel box. That's all your fuses. Looks a little crazy in there, right? It's just looking for burns, anything crazy. It looks good. You can notice pretty quickly something was burned out. Seat belts. Ooh. Oh, we got seat. It locks. Sleeper restraints. There are no sleeper restraints in this vehicle. It's a day cab. Windshield. Sun visor. It's all good to go. Wiper blades. They work. They're in decent condition. Not great condition. But they work. This is a school setting. They're not going to replace too much stuff. The side mirrors are there. They work. Operational. One's on the front right there. Check your blind spots. They're there too. Seat conditions. I mean, these are fairly basic seats. The one I'm sitting in works well too. It's got a little armrest. Ooh. Got a little setting to move it around a little bit. That's air pressure actually. You might hear that. Raising and lowering. You don't need to do too much of that, but it works. Then you would expect the door hinges and go around a list of different things that you need to inspect and check to make sure this vehicle is in working order. And that's just the cab and the hood. We're not going to go into full length. We're limited on video time. But I appreciate all of you tuning in to see this video. Thank you for your time. Signing out.